Floyd Johnson writes into TNT at twit.tv to say, but basically just ask us a simple question. Say, how weird did it get for each of you to use the other's smartphone technology? I think obviously referring to the fact that for now, a little more than a week, we have traded phones. We are 1 week out of 4 into the grand switch, the TWiTSwitch experience.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been weird to be on Android for you?
Pretty weird, Floyd Johnson. Pretty weird. I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just uncomfortable with it. I want my iPhone back.
Is it just difficult to change, and that's kind of the end of the story? Like, you're used to one thing, you have a new thing. It's only been a week. I mean, a week isn't a very long time to completely upend and change, how you compute on a daily basis with possibly the technology that you use the very most. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's just like it's changed and it's different, therefore I want what I'm used to back?
Yes. Yeah. I'm not blaming Android. It's not you, Android. It's me. I'm just not comfortable with it. And it's made me think about how attached I am to my technology, and maybe it's a good thing to get a little bit of space.
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, it becomes this thing of, part of ourselves, or this thing that we just infatuated with in a way that I don't think is healthy. So it's good. I mean, and I miss my Apple Watch. I miss the way it records my activity. I miss that I'm always getting text messages. And I have your Moto 360, which is fine.
I'll go ahead and say it. I've been probably more impressed with the Apple Watch than almost anything else. My experience with the Apple Watch versus pretty much any of the wearables that I've tried on Android, very different. Like, there's just a level of obviously a level of quality. I did not expect to actually appreciate the digital crown. I thought it was lame when I heard about the digital crown. Like, oh, you don't need that. It's a touchscreen or whatever. I use it all the time. It's like, it feels nice to use it. I don't know. So that's been one of my big surprises. Mind you, you're using a 2.5-year-old watch versus like the current
2-month-old
edition of
watch.
2-month-old Apple Watch. So big difference there.
Yeah. What have you found anything weird?
No, I wouldn't say that it's weird. Thankfully, out of this experience, I've learned the OS a little bit better. Like, that was I always felt like I was deficient in knowing one of the most known OSs of right now, which is the mobile OS that most people, well, a lot of people anyways, have in their mobile phones with iOS. So I'm happy that I'm learning the OS a little bit more and feeling a little bit more comfortable. It's just kind of, from the Android perspective, just kind of a general sense of like boredom, if that makes any sense. I feel like with Android, for better or worse, and I'm sure this is appealing to some people and not at all to other people, but I feel like there's more for me to get into the OS on a regular basis, more reason for me to kind of like tweak it or customize it or whatever. It's a strength of Android. Whereas with Android or with iOS, I feel like it's in my hand and I use it, and then when I'm done, I just put it down. You know what I mean? Like, it does what it does very well, but I like to get a little bit deeper, a little bit nerdier with my phone, and there isn't a whole lot of that pull in iOS. And so I just kind of, it becomes less, kind of like what you're saying, it becomes less of an infatuation and more of I'll just use it to check my email, and okay, I did that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm experimenting with some widgets. I downloaded something that Kronos something or other that Leo recommended.
Is that
that's
a
interesting.
wearable thing?
No, it's a widget. Kronos.
Oh, okay.
It's a launcher. It's a widget. It's a thing.
Home and lock widget.
Yes.
Says the Play Store page that I just searched real quickly.
Yeah, Leo
apparently I've installed it before because this is installed on the Play Store.
You've installed it all before. It's all the same day. And as I've said before, I am enjoying Android Auto, which is just an app. My car isn't Android Auto compatible, but it's just something that appears on my phone when it connects to my car via Bluetooth. And it makes it easier to see things and reminds me that I shouldn't be touching my phone while I'm driving.
And it's nice because it connects and recognizes your car's Bluetooth, automatically launches that interface, kind of pulls a little bit of the the reason for you to touch and fiddle with your phone while you're driving, even though you shouldn't. Kind of removes that from the equation a little bit and gives you more of that car interface. Kind of along those lines. Like, obviously, I was away for a couple of days. We were in the mountains traveling. And I put this on Twitter, but I should just mention it. I was afraid to use Apple Maps because just general hesitancy after having heard, the stories a couple of years ago about Apple Maps not being very good and whatever. And still people will still say that on social media when I talk about this stuff. But because we were growing up in the mountains and there was snow everywhere, and I didn't want to get my family in a bad situation because I was trying this new thing for work. And ultimately it turned out that Google Maps was not as good at knowing road closures sudden road closures due to snow and stuff like that in the same way that Apple Maps was. So ultimately, once I was there, I realized I got better, at least in that scenario, got better information on where to go from Apple Maps versus Google Maps. And that was way outside of what I expected. So
yeah, I mean, Apple Maps suffers because it was so horrible in the beginning.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of people kind of hold on to that and we're gonna, you're always gonna suck because you sucked in the beginning. And I'm sure, everything evolves.
You also forgot your dongle that I gave you on your trip. That was sad. Even your daughter pointed out the fact that it's stupid.
Yeah,
that you can't.
She did.
She said it's not. You said it's courage. It's courage.
I introduced her to Super Mario Run one day, and she wanted to play it another day. And she had her headphones. She's like, "Where do I plug this in?" She was like totally turning the phone all around. I was like, "Well, it doesn't have a headphone jack. It has a thing, and I forgot the thing, so you can't plug it in." She's like, "Well, that's stupid. Your phone does." I'm like, "Yes, exactly."
Yep.
Courage.
From the mouths
I need to
of
remember
babes.
that.
Exactly. Yeah.